Hello, cats. Welcome back to another episode of Chat About That. I'm your host, Bella, and in this episode, I'm going to be interviewing my friend Kacy, who is a Rover pet sitter. Hi, everyone. Today, I am joined with my friend Kacy. She's going to be talking about her experience as a Rover pet sitter. And just like my last interview with MCG the rapper, I also went to college with Kacy. We're very good friends, and I'm so excited that you're here today, Kacy. So if you want to just start off by introducing yourself to my listeners.
My name's Kacy. Well, thanks for having me, Bella, first. So very excited. I live in Frederick with my fiance, and we have two little doggies. I work in marketing, and currently I'm pursuing my master's for contemporary communications at the Notre Dame of Maryland University.
So, for my listeners who don't know, what exactly is Rover?
Basically, Rover is just an app that connects pet owners with pet services like dog walking, doggy daycare, and dog boarding. You can also do cats. I don't dabble in the cat world, but I guess you would consider it pet sitting for Rover, not just dogs.
And what exactly led you to start becoming a Rover pet sitter?
So last June, Justin proposed to me, and we wanted to start saving up for the wedding, for a honeymoon. So that kind of led us to Rover and using the app to just make some extra money.
And I know that you have a couple of dogs yourself. They're so adorable. Can you just tell my listeners a little bit about your pets?
They're probably literally right behind me, sitting on the couch right now. But so I have two dogs. Our first dog we got was Keely. So she is a puggle, and that is half pug, half beagle. Fun story for when we got her. It was actually Justin was working at a restaurant, and one of his regulars came in and was like, "Oh my gosh, my pug got pregnant. I don't know what I'm gonna do with these puppies." And I found out it was a puggle, and I was like, "Please, can I have one of these puppies?" And then her dog ended up having two puppies, and we got the female. So that's how we got Keely. And that was about 3 years ago, or no, 4 years ago. And then Naya is our second dog, and she's 3 years old. She's my little baby. She's like, I always joke that she's literally like my soulmate. Just I don't know, she like looks at me and she just loves a cuddle. I just feel like she always knows like what I need. But she is what they call a beagle ear. So she's also half beagle like Keely. And then she's also Cavalier King Charles mixed together, which I always joke she loves sitting on my lap. And for anyone that doesn't know, the Cavalier King Charles, they're actually bred to sit on kings and queens like laps all day. So I think that's why she's like obsessed with sitting on people's laps. So this is what she's bred to do. So
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, I love your dogs. They're so they're so cute. So what kind of dogs do you like pet sitting the most? Because I know you kind of have like preference for like the beagle mixes for your own dogs, but what kind of dogs are do you like love to pet sit the most?
yeah, no, definitely we love the beagle mixes. Obviously, both our dogs are beagle mixes. But we definitely prefer smaller dogs. We have watched bigger dogs, but for us, our two girls get along best with dogs their size. So we just love the smaller dogs. Like 30 pounds and under is perfect. But yeah, Naya gets a little weird. I forget, there's like a term for it, but I think she has issues with bigger dogs. Like
Yeah.
you get just like really defensive around bigger dogs. I don't know if they're just like intimidating for her, but we have watched bigger dogs before.
Yeah, I think there is. I don't, it must be like some psychological thing. I know a lot of times like smaller dogs will get really like afraid or skittish around bigger dogs. And then some big dogs get scared around little dogs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. So when you actually pet sit the dogs, they come to your house. The people on the app like drop off your dog and on to your house. And I'm assuming there's like a vetting process for people and to put their dogs up and also for you to be on the app. I'm sure there's like Yeah, it's all legit and everything.
Yeah. So all the pet sitters, like I do, you do get a background check done when you enter the app. And then also we do vet all of the pets that we bring into our home. So they call it a meet and greet. So basically, like we'll invite the family and their dog to come and let our dogs kind of play in the backyard together, see if they mesh well, see if they don't. We've done that basically for every dog. When we first started, we didn't, and we had a situation. And after that, we like never didn't not meet the dog. So what happened was it was a male dog, and he literally tried to hump Keely and I like the entire time they were at our house. And after that, we were more careful. So, and we ask that we will accept non-neutered males, but for the most part, we try to make sure they're neutered. Both our dogs are spayed, so it's not like that kind of issue. But yeah, we're trying to be more careful. And then I always ask them, like, are they updated on their like all their shots?
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, for pets, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, like they can also get the flu. It's like a canine influenza. They have like the rabies shots. They have a bunch of shots that they get just like we do. So, and they can't get sick. So, you know.
Yeah. That's really smart that you like have that in place, and that like the app and everything like allows for people to do background checks and stuff like that. That's really important. How often do you actually do pet sitting?
Yeah, so right now we actually have one dog in our doggy daycare program. So we watch him every single Wednesday, and we started this, I guess, about like 2 months ago. So that's definitely fun because you really get to know the dog pretty well because they're coming, you know, every week. And then besides that, I mean, we try to watch as much as we can. But I would say probably 2 to 3 weekends out of every month, we like have a dog here staying with us.
Oh, that sounds so fun. Little doggy daycare. That's nice that you have like a repeat customer kind of. That's really nice. And I bet like you get along with the dog and the owner and everything. It's like glad that it's like a positive experience. That's so sweet.
Yeah. No, the owners of this particular dog is like awesome. So, and they live like so close to us. So,
Oh, that's nice too.
yeah.
So, what's been something that's like just the most rewarding part of doing this? I know obviously like spending time with the dogs and everything, but is there anything that's like really rewarding, just brings you so much joy?
I would say definitely building relationships with the dogs we watch is kind of amazing. Like dogs, every dog has a different personality. And I mean, if you haven't had a dog before, then maybe you're not familiar, but really they are so different. Each dog is very unique. So just kind of getting to know them and build that like kind of loving relationship with them is really rewarding. And then also just hearing from pet owners that they're like, thank you so much, you know, for taking care of like our family while we're away. Like we really appreciate the pictures and like videos and just knowing, you know, that they're not like sad sitting in like a kennel the whole time they're gone. So that's super rewarding. It's just nice to hear that the people appreciate it. So
yeah, that's nice. And I like what you said about like they're not just like sitting in a kennel, like they're going to someone's home, and like these people like love animals so much that they want to help other people. And you know, because that's like when I had my childhood dog, we hated putting her in a kennel, you know, and she's such a big dog that it was like kind of hard for other people to watch her, but she hated the kennel. Like it was so sad to send her that. So like if we could have done something like this back then, you know, it would have just given us more peace of mind, like having her be in a better environment. So, oh, that's so sweet.
yeah. And I would also just say the vetting goes both ways, you know, like I've used Rover before personally for my dogs. And, you know, just as important as they need to be comfortable with me and I need to be comfortable with them, it's like important to make sure that you're getting a good person to watch your dogs.
What's something that's been really challenging about doing this?
Most challenging part is similar to the most rewarding part in some ways, because every dog's routine is different. Every personality is different. So when we're watching a new dog for the first time, like, you know, you might not know they're afraid of the vacuum cleaner. And then you turn it on and they start like going nuts, you know? So that's like kind of challenging just to get used to and kind of understand the different needs that the dogs have.
Yeah.
Like I usually try to ask the owners if they know those things ahead of time, just so I don't like freak them out more than they already are. Cause I mean, it's scary, for the dogs. And also another super challenging part that a lot of dogs are kind of suffering from is separation anxiety. So, especially with the pandemic and, dogs got so used to their people being there all the time. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, people are going on vacations again, people are going back to work. And then the dogs are like, what's happening? Like, why are you guys not here feeding me treats all day like it used to be? So it's kind of challenging. And we have had dogs that have separation anxiety. And it just makes you a little sad because they'll be like crying or sitting at the door and you just want to make them feel like okay, but really they just want their people back, so yeah. But it can be hard.
Yeah, I can imagine that, but it seems like you know how to help the dogs and you love them so much. It's hard and sad, but I think you probably have gotten like a routine of yourself down to kind of figure out how to help them more.
Yeah, we definitely try. I mean, cuddles always works. And something we love to feed our dogs is carrots. So we always try that with new dogs that come, like treats. Not every dog, but a lot of dogs love when you give them treats. So that usually works a lot.
Yeah, my sister has a dog named Melly, who's a beagle, and she loves carrots. Oh my gosh. She if my dad goes to the fridge, she'll like sit next to the fridge because she thinks he's gonna like give her food. And if she sees us cutting anything, she's like just like, oh, it must be my treats. And we're like, no, we're cutting like meat, like we're not, or like potatoes or something. It's like we're not cutting carrots for you right now. But yeah, she loves carrots. She loves watermelon too. So
yeah.
So
I love it how much the dogs like love carrots. It's just funny to me that they're like obsessed with them. So, and apples and peanut butter. I will say just be careful with the foods they feed your pets because some human food, actually is like poisonous for them. So
yeah.
So I know like big ones like grapes, like never give your dogs grapes or avocado is another big one too. So, but there's like a whole bunch of food you're not supposed to give them.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, hopefully people know that, but if not, check it out, Google it. You can find a list of like things not to feed your pets. So
kind of on that line, is there anything you wish you knew before you became a dog sitter? Because obviously like you have your own dogs, like, things like that, like not to feed them and, which dogs can like kind of be without the leash and stuff. But is there anything like major that like you really wish you like knew before going into this?
So Justin, my fiance and we definitely do kind of team dynamic for Rover. So it's not really always just me doing it. The one thing we wish we knew how much we actually loved it, like way earlier. Because we've lived in this house probably for like 3-4 years and just started rovering last year. So we kind of wish we knew we would like it so much sooner so that we could kind of start it sooner. So, but yeah, that was like the one thing I was like, I wish I'd known that.
And is this something you see yourself doing for like a really long time?
Yeah, I think so. We both enjoy it. It's a really good way for us to like make some extra money. If we have a family one day, it might be harder to do this, but yeah, as long as we can, I think we like it and want to continue.
I know you told a couple of stories earlier, but is there anything like really crazy that's ever happened or like just like some wild stories you can tell? You kind of alluded to some of them earlier, but was there anything like that happened? You were like, oh my God, this is like insane.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of stories that came to mind, but I wanted to tell this one that was like, oh my God. So we had gotten this request. And I guess to give a little background for the Rover app. So the only information I really get about the people is their first name. Like I don't get their last name or where they live or and all of the money is handled through the app. So I also don't do any of that either. So this lady had this little cute dog. I remember her name was Rosie and they came and we met them and it was like, great. And I remember she was going to help her kids move into college or something. So we were going to watch Rosie for the weekend. And then we got her and, Justin had went to the doctor's. The doctor was like, hey, like, how's it going? What are you doing this weekend? And Justin was like, oh, we're watching a dog on this app called Rover this weekend. And the doctor was like, oh, no way. Like, tell me about it. And then he was telling him about the dog. And it turned out that dog was the doctor's dog. And like, it was crazy. Like we were watching Justin's doctor's dog and did not know because we never met him. We just met his wife and we didn't know anything else. And yeah, they just kind of connected the pieces, and he couldn't watch her that weekend because he had surgeries going on, and she's a puppy, so she needed a lot of attention. But yeah, that was just like, whoa, like mind blown that they made that connection at that exact time. It was just weird.
That's wild. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's so funny. Have you
Yeah.
ever like watched someone's dog and like when you met the person, you're like, oh, I know you, or like Justin's known them or something? Or is that like really the only instance?
I think that's the only time that we've had like something like that wild before. Like just be like, wait, I had no idea this was your dog. I mean, their dog was awesome. Like we loved
Oh,
watching her. So,
oh.
but yeah, I know we have had people that loved us watching their dogs and kind of referred us to other people before. But I think that's the only time when we connected the dots like that. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask because you mentioned earlier that you had like one repeat customer, but do you have any others that are like always come back?
yeah, so we have a lot of repeat customers actually. About, I guess, like a week or two ago, one of our, I guess I would say regulars had messaged us to watch her dog in October, like
Oh
already
wow.
far ahead. And she was basically like, you're the only two I like watching my dog. So, like, I wanted to make sure you're available super in advance. So that's like sweet to hear too, because you kind of do build relationships with the owners too. And I think since we love our dogs, we tend to get along well too with the owners that also love their dogs. So it's like kind of fun. And then I'll mention one other dog that we've literally watched him like so many times that I feel like he is our dog. So, and I have no idea where his family goes all the time, but they're always dropping him off here and we're watching him. So, but he's great. Literally, he gets along so well with our dogs. It's like he fits right in.
Oh, that's so sweet. So, do you have any advice for anyone who's looking to become a pet sitter on Rover or just in general?
Yeah, I would say if you're interested in becoming a sitter on Rover or any other app, to first just go for it. Like, why not? Make sure your house is set up, make sure your pets are ready, you're ready for the dogs to come in. But also check out the other sitters in your area. Like, I know probably similar to other apps on Rover, you can go and search people in your area that are also sitters, and make sure your prices are comparative, because if you're charging $70 a day to watch someone's dog and then someone 2 miles away is charging like $45, like, who are they going to go with, the $70 or 45 person? More than likely the cheaper person. But yeah, you want to make sure that your prices are good. And then the other thing I'll say that we kind of didn't know as much in the beginning, but it was just about taxes. So for Rover, every state is going to be different, but we sit in Maryland. And so for Maryland, if you make, I think it's over $600, or at least currently right now for the taxes. I don't know what next year is going to happen, but right now, if you make over $600, you have to report that onto your taxes. And I mean, you're supposed to report anything, but if you make over $600, you're definitely have to. And then this is like a bunch. Like, I learned a lot this year about taxes and how you had to fill out this other special form called like a Schedule C. And basically now when I filled that out, like, this was making Rover like technically a small business. Like, even though Rover is the bigger app, like, we were running a small business for our home. So it was kind of nice though, because then you could write things off for your taxes. Like, we're able to write off like our electric bills, our like internet, like water, like treats and stuff for the dogs. You can't write everything off. Um, but then you also had to kind of take into consideration how much you rovered and portions of everything. That's how they kind of figured out the taxes. But yeah, taxes are very confusing. But I would say if you're interested in Rover or any small business, like, definitely check it out beforehand. And even if you don't have a super well understanding, like, try to like understand a little bit or consult a tax advisor, which is actually what I did. So definitely helpful.
Oh, that's smart for you to consult somebody. And I didn't even think about that until you mentioned that about taxes. And because people don't really consider things like that to be like a small business or something that you would end up making like that much off of. But if you're doing it as often as you're doing it, I imagine it's probably pretty lucrative. And yeah, I mean, the world revolves around money, and taxes are important, I guess. But yeah, it's that would be confusing to me. But I think that's really good advice that you have.
Yep. You don't want to break the law. So just be careful.
Is there any other questions or anything else you wanted to discuss or talk about that I haven't asked you yet? Do you think might be important for listeners to know?
So we ended up choosing Rover out of all the other dog apps because so every dog that we watched, Rover gets a portion of that. And so that's something just to consider if you're going to use other apps. So we went with Rover because they took the smallest portion of our money from us. So I know the only other one I think we really looked into was Wag, because that's another popular dog app, but they took like 50% or something of your money. And I was like, what? That is not worth it. So, I mean, I get it that that's how they make their money. And I also get it because honestly, besides like uploading our profile and actually watching dogs, like Justin and I haven't had to do anything as far as marketing or getting clients. They just kind of come to us. So like that's great. But yeah, just keep that in mind, make sure it's worth it for you. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important part, that you feel like the money that you earn was actually worth the work that you put in. So
yeah, it kind of sounds like Tinder for dog sitting. Like, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like Tinder.
I mean, honestly, a little bit. Yeah, it kind of does. Oh, except the owners, I guess. I guess if your mom was using Tinder for you, then it's kind of like that. They pick out us.
That's funny. So here on Chat About That, I have a signature question that I ask all my guests, and you're the second person that gets to answer the question. So this is one of my favorite questions to ask people. So if you had an entire day to chat about whatever you wanted with any three people, dead or alive, who would they be? And what would you chat about with each one of those people?
So the first one is Nicole Byer. So I don't know. Some people might not be
No,
familiar
I'm
with.
not super familiar with her.
You probably know she's the host of Nailed It. So
Oh, okay. Yes.
show. I feel like that's definitely one of her most well-known things.
Yes.
But she's also been at a bunch of other stuff, and she's really big in the podcast world too. So actually just this year I started listening to podcasts, and now I'm like obsessed with her.
Now you're on one.
I know, it's so much fun. It's like full circle. I would just love to sit down with her and chat about anything, about life, about like just living. She just seems really cool. So I'd want to sit down with her and chat. Maybe we could bake a cake together, like really bad.
Yeah, because you like to do baking a lot.
Yeah, I do. But I will say I would also fail that show because it is unrealistic. The time that they give those people is not realistic.
No.
Then the second person I thought I would love to chat with, which actually it's kind of like newly I wanted to chat with him. His name's Tyler Henry. And I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's the Hollywood medium, if you remember him.
That was okay, like he sounds familiar. Yeah.
But he just has a new show out on Netflix, and I literally binged it like 2 days ago. But it's called Life After Death. But basically, he's like I think it's clairvoyance would be the technical term. But in his opinion, he can like talk to people that have passed away, or talk to like people from beyond. But I just like became obsessed with his show, and I was like, wow, like he has such a gift to like, I want a reading with him. And yeah, my grandpa passed away earlier this year. So like, I just would love to see if he could connect with him. I just think it would be really cool. So, and I'm definitely a believer that, when you pass away, like your essence is still in the universe somewhere,
Yeah, I believe that too.
Yeah, like I just think he really can. I think he can like channel people. And I just think it's like the coolest thing. So I would want to sit down with him for a day and just like talk to. And then my last person is Rachel Bloom, which, and maybe Rachel.
I know
Bloom.
who she is. Yeah.
Yeah. I also freaking love her. She's so funny. For anyone that hasn't seen Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, TV show, you can watch it on Netflix. She kind of starred and wrote that show with other people. But I just like love her. The same thing with Nicole Byer. I just want to like hang out with her and like talk about life. And I just love what she did with that show and then other things too. Like I read her like autobiography and stuff like that. I just love what she's doing too with like bringing kind of attention to mental health issues and normalizing it almost, you know? So I love her too. I'd want to talk to her. All of them, just all of them.
Oh, I like those answers. That's a variety of people. That's really cool. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to chat with you about today. Is there anything other than, I guess, your Rover like profile or anything else that you like want to shout out or, give a little nod to?
Well, I'd say, yeah, if you want to find me on Rover and watch your dog and you're in the Frederick area, look me up. You can leave reviews on my Rover page, even if I haven't watched your dog. So you can go leave me positive reviews there too. And then maybe they can check out my Instagram for Pugilosity. But last year I started kind of an Etsy page for dog kind of apparel. It's on pause right now because with wedding, grad school, full time, I just couldn't handle it. But anyone can follow it, and hopefully in the future that page will come back to life. So there's that.
I'll leave all that information in the episode description so my listeners can check you out on their Instagram page. I follow the page. It's very cute. There's lots of cool arts and designs and cute dogs on there as well. So if you want to see pictures of her adorable dogs, you can check that out. So thank you, Kacy, so much for joining me. I hope everyone listening to this enjoyed the episode. I hope you learned something about Rover and learned about the wonderful, amazing, awesome Kacy and her amazing dog watching skills. As always, stay safe, stay classy, and I'll chat again with you soon. Goodbye.